In my last video, I showed you how I made these big, colourful collage papers, which I was planning on taking away on holiday with me. And the plan was to come back with a sketchbook bursting with finished pages. Well, the reality was I didn't exactly fill it, but I did make some art whilst I was away. Maybe not as much as I would have liked, but it's a start, so I'm proud of that anyway. Along the way, I did run into some problems, and I'm sure that a lot of you will be able to relate to these as well. So in this video, I'm sharing the pages that I did create and the challenges that I faced, like finding time with family around, working in small spaces, and having no access to a printer for my photographs. And I'm sharing how I made it work anyway. So let's dive in. Start with pages that did make it into my holiday sketchbook. Alright, let's start with what I did manage to capture then. So this was the first double page in my sketchbook that I created, and the sketchbook that I'm using is Dingbat's sketchbook. I will link to it in the description below, and it's got quite nice thick paper. So I started off with just using some water-soluble crayon. It's a Derwent Intense pencil, and I sprayed some water onto the page first and then worked into it with the pencil. And I was up on the cliffs. This was after we'd travelled down to Cornwall, so quite a long journey, and I managed to just go out for a walk by myself, took my sketchbook. I didn't really bother taking any collage papers because it was such a windy evening. I was up on the cliffs and it was really breezy, and so even with my clip, which was my tip for keeping your collage papers nice and together when you're working outside, I didn't even bother to get them out. It was so windy. But I could get a pencil out and I could get some water out. So I sprayed the page first, and then I just created these little boxes and just tried to capture the landscape in front of me and not thinking too much about it. These were kind of maybe 2 minutes each. And I've just made some notes as well, just thinking about what I was interested in. So the thrift, the flowers, the curve of the bay, the rocks, the wind, the butterflies, the spaces between the rocks, and kind of looking through them into the landscape. And I've dated this page as well. It was so lovely sitting up on the cliff, so I worked on another one and just chose 3 different Neocolour 2 water-soluble wax crayons, and just tried to capture just the feeling of being up on the cliffs. I'm not particularly happy with this, but I really enjoyed making it. So even though it's a page in my sketchbook that I probably won't use again, I don't really like how it looks. I don't like how the colours work together. I don't like how I filled the page. I don't think I've really captured the composition as it was, but I really enjoyed making it. I enjoyed taking those 10-15 minutes to work on the page, so it's all worth it to me. So this was the first day, and if you are working in a holiday sketchbook, I would make that my first tip really, to try and do something in your sketchbook on that first day. It kind of sets the intention, sets the mode for the rest of the holiday then. If you've worked on that first page, you're not thinking every day after that, oh, I've got to do my first page of my sketchbook, because you've already done it. So just grab something, just one pencil, just scribble something onto that page. Just do it. So this was also one of the first pages. I think this was the second or third day of our holiday, and I made this in the early morning, and during the day it isn't always realistic to be able to find time when you're on a family holiday to make art, and so early mornings work for me. I'm definitely a morning person though, so you just have to find what works for you, and that would be my second tip. Find a point in the day when you can grab those 15 minutes, whether it's early morning or maybe late at night when the kids have gone to bed or when you've done everything you need to do. Just find the time of day that suits you. So here I laid down some of the collage papers that I'd taken that you saw me creating in the last video that I did. And I was just trying to capture parts of the landscape. So obviously the sea was in front of me, the beach, the sand, scratching into the paint that I'd added on, to reflect the sort of those marram grasses that you get in the sand dunes there. This is a similar page that I did the next day, I think, and I started it off in a similar way. So using the collage papers as a sort of background, and then I worked on top with a little bit of Neocolour, I think, crayons and some water. And then I've actually worked onto this when I got home. So I've used carbon paper and some of my photographs of the grasses to work on top of the background. I'm not sure if I've really captured the movement here, but I do like the repetitive lines and the patterns that they make, so that's something that I've identified that I like, and then I'll build on that and work on it in maybe in a different way later on. The third tip that I wanted to share with you was about limiting your travel art kit. So limiting the art kit that you take away on holiday with you is really key to being able to make art whilst you're away, because if you're trying to take and lug around all these art materials with you, chances are you're probably going to be exhausted by the time you get down to the beach or wherever it is you're going. So you really do need to limit yourself to what you take. This is my trusty travel art kit. This is what I took away with me. This is an old, I think it's like a toiletry bag. It's got this lovely pattern on it. I think it's a Liberty pattern. It's got a little somewhere. But it's a beautiful thing, and it's really good because I can see into all the compartments, so I know what's in each one. I'll talk you through what I've got in each one. I have taken a few bits out since I've been home, but here's a few things, and a few things that have found their way in there. I was looking for that string last night. Okay, so I took some crayons and pencil sharpener away with me. Oh, that's a brush that I forgot to wash, never mind. These things happen, and I've got these Derwent Inktense pencils, which are water soluble. I love using these. I've got a few different colours of those. There's some other watercolour crayons, my Stabilo All crayons, which I love as well, and a couple of brushes. One less, now I've forgotten to wash that other one, and another pencil sharpener. So a few crayons there. In here I've got a glue stick, just a small one, and I've got the big Posca pens that I love using. So I've got yellow, blue, pink. I also take a white, which I use all the time, and these are the big chunky ones, the PC 17K 15mm. I use these all the time. They're great for just getting colour down really quickly. And I have a couple of these brush pens as well. So these are the ones with the reservoir of water that you fill in here, and then you squeeze it to get the water out. Just another alternative for your brushes. What else is in there? Not much. And then I've got 2 tins in here. Oh, I also have this mini sketchbook as well. That one's empty. These are what I pop into my travel bag for my kids to work in as well. So sometimes if I get my sketchbook out and I start working on something, chances are they'll come over and they'll want to use everything. I want to work in my sketchbook. I want to concentrate on my sketchbook. So I take along a little sketchbook for them to work in as well. You can see my eldest hasn't done very much in that this holiday, but my youngest did do a few little bits. So it was worth taking anyway. And in these tins, I've just got some, what are these ones? These are the Neo Colour ones. So lots of nice colours in there. Not too many, they all fit in there. And these are oil pastels. So a few of my favourite colours in there. Elastic band to hold it. And these are great because the tins are nice and flat. They just go in there. And then all this folds up. The other thing that I take with me that I've actually taken out because I've been using them are some clips. Let me grab a couple. Kind of, you know, like these ones, the bulldog clips. I use these for clipping my collage papers together and also for clipping my pages together. So when it's breezy and I'm working outside, the pages aren't flapping all over and the papers aren't flapping all over. So clips are essential. So that's what I take away with me. And on this page, you can see that I've used some of those limited materials. I've used Neo Colour. These are the Posca paint pens that I've used the blue one just to grab that colour from the sky, get in there nice and quickly. And I used a piece of collage paper just to give myself a background first of all. That's a really great way to start a page quickly, is just put one piece of collage paper down, gives you that colour to work on top of really quickly. And then I've just gone in with the Neo Colours and some of the Derwent Inktense pencils as well. If you're short on time on holiday, then making art quickly has to be something that you get pretty good at. And this was done in under 15 minutes down on the beach. We'd been rock pooling, I was feeling inspired by that, and I remembered that some of the collage papers that I'd made, which I'll link to in the description below because I did the video of that showing you those collage papers, Some of those papers really reminded me of rock pools, and you can see, I don't know if you can see clearly here, this piece of paper was just a piece of collage paper. So I stuck that in the middle, and then I've worked outwards from that collage paper. So again, I'm using the collage paper as kind of that starting point to break that barrier of the blank white page and give me something to work from and respond to. So I added in some of these, all these marks using the Neocolours, and really enjoyed working, trying to make the crayons and the Neocolours work in a more fluid way. So I had lots of fluid marks already in the collage paper, sprayed my page with water, put the Neocolours onto their side to get these big sweeping marks, and try to keep it quite loose and free. So that's a really quick page. So these are some unfinished pages in my sketchbooks that I prepped whilst I was there. I was getting a little short of time towards the end of the holiday, but I knew I still had my collage papers, so I just took 5 minutes just to play around with placing some of those collage papers into my sketchbook, ready as backgrounds, so that when I get home I can start working on top of them. And it just keeps you engaged with what you're doing, gives you some ideas. So this idea of the vertical stripes, I'm really loving this idea, and reflecting the grasses that I saw on my morning walk. And then now I'm back home, I've started working on top of some of these as well. My tip then would be, don't be afraid of unfinished pages. Sometimes even just adding a background with collage papers or marks that you make on holiday can spark something once you're back. Creating this holiday sketchbook has already sparked loads of different ideas, and I've already started working on these other little books based on the work that I made on holiday. So if you're keen to see how these progress, then please do subscribe to the channel, and then you'll be the first to hear when I post all my developments from this book. And I also send out a Creative Fix newsletter, which is completely free, and you can sign up to that via the link in the description below. Okay, I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching.